Oh, yes. Well, we have our types of, I mean, I went to the presidents, I used to say that we should. We are ready to pay attention.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Independence City Council meeting. It's Tuesday, December 10th, 2024 at 6:30 evening. Let the records show the councilors are here all together. And you have in front of you the minutes of the November 12th meeting. Do they meet with your approval?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion second, discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carried. Visitor comments and check. And I have a question. What city do you live in?
I live in Salem, but
Okay.
my office is here at 613 Cessna Street. I'm
Thank
in
you.
the B building, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna make this fast, so I'm gonna read it. Hello and thank you. This will be brief. As all of you may know by now, I have been unable to receive a response from any of my inquiries during the past year from your communications director. For almost every question I've had about city operations, expenditures, or other municipal business, I have issued an inquiry in 3 ways. By email, a printed copy of that email dropped off at City Hall, and a follow-up phone call. So I thought I'd inform you on this last meeting of the 2024 year about 2 spent sums by the city that I plan to use as fact in 2025. The $3.9 million sought by Councilor Sarah Jobe and discovered by a university researcher to be part of the loan for the Independent Civic Center will be added to the approximately $10.8 million stated on loan documents as attributed to the construction of this building we now occupy. That means the Independent Civic Center will be characterized at a cost of more than $15 million. Your communications director has been repeatedly apprised of this, and your current city manager, council president, and current mayor have been informed of this as well by email. Additionally, I have also kept track of the money out of past city fund transfers that have been revealed by the city manager over the past year. The sum I have for that is also close to 15 million. It's about the same amount published by another newspaper that your city manager has praised for its accuracy. So that is the number I will be using as well. If any of you want to discuss these sums, I'm available. Finally, your city manager said she felt chased into a lobby restroom one day. I perceived it to be my attempt to try to have an interaction with her. She seemed to want to shun me. It was kindly intended on my part for the city's sake. I apologize that it seemed otherwise. I had a 2-sentence message that I thought it was important to deliver. that I was going to have to include my attempts to get the city side of things on whatever article I was working on. And that if I didn't, I would need to include that in the text. I thought her press ban might make the city appear to be less than transparent. Judging from the conversations after the levy defeat, some appear to find that's the case. I'm sorry for my intrusion that night. I really am. I also regret that the message I imparted didn't have the desired effect that I presumed that it would. Thank you.
Good. Next person, Jack Woodell, Monmouth. Just reminding all the audience that the public comment is a one-way communication. We just listened, and so anyway, thank you. Good evening, Jack.
Okay, yeah, first of all, I'd like to start with saying thank you, Bob, thank you, John, Karen. We're losing a lot, and I forget her name, who works at the police department, but you guys have been stellar and appreciate all your years of service. Hey, so what I want to talk about right now is I'm in the development community and the SDCs and the cost of construction. And I know that you guys have tough jobs and you're trying to meet budgets and you know, I'm not claiming that I understand the ins and outs of that, but we have basically gotten to a point to where you cannot work in independence. And our SDCs are really close to like Westland and places that are a lot deeper than we are financially. And we're not a community that has those type of resources. And I've been involved in multiple jobs for many years between Monmouth and Independence, Dallas, Salem. And personally, I've never seen something that has been used that has completely killed our industry. And it's not coming back. It's not coming back until you are able to sit down and really assess you know, the costs that we're incurring right now. And so, you know, I'm a big advocate of replacement permits, and that's where you stay on the same footprint, rebuild the house. I've done several of them here. And you know, that's an affordable permit to get. And it also saves the architecture of our community, which I appreciate also. And even that has gone up to where it's almost undoable. And so, you know, I'm mostly involved with new construction. And you know, I'm aware of a project, and I don't want to say names, right across the road here, you know, where you know, they were looking at $4.5 million SDC according to them. And I've been involved with something that was $2.5 million. And those numbers just don't pencil. And with the cost of material, the pressure we get from the unions, you know, which the unions are great, you know, they do a great job, but you know, the workforce is really diminished. A lot of our people have moved. You know, in the local area, our guys are working mostly in Dallas and Brooks. And I just think with this opportunity of, you know, some people are leaving, some people are coming on, you know, it'd be a great time for independents to get bold and create a situation where independence can be the most lucrative place to work in Oregon. you know, and people would flock here. I mean, people wanna live here. And it's a great town. You guys have all done a great job with the parks and, you know, this is an amazing town to live in. Fourth of July parade, you know, the concerts at the park. I mean, but there's no inventory and you can't afford to build here. And so, I just wanted to throw that out there that, you know, I think that this is a great time for the council and the mayor and, you know, city manager, you know, to look at these things and really decide, because in our industry, it's not only our industry, but it's people coming here spending money, going to Ovenburg, you know, going to, I mean, we're bringing money into this place. And it's just,
That's 5 minutes, Mayor.
oh, okay.
Sorry.
Anyways, thank you for your time and, enjoy your evening.
Thanks, Jack, appreciate it. Vicky McCubbin. Good evening and welcome to council.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor McCardle. Congratulations on your well-deserved retirement, but we'll miss you. Good evening, councilors, city staff. My name is Vicky McCubbin, and I'm here to thank council for once again reappointing me to the Museum Advisory Board. It has been my pleasure to serve the community in a variety of ways as a volunteer and advocate for the Heritage Museum for the past 8 years. With the failure of the levy and the recent stepping down of the museum director, I want to assure council and the community of my commitment to do all I can as a member of this board to support the city as it works through this time of transition for the museum. I, of course, don't know what the future holds for the museum, and I understand that it is clearly the duty of the city manager to manage all personnel, the operation, maintenance, disposal, and acquisition of equipment and buildings. And I would not want to overstep my responsibilities as an advisor. However, by Municipal Code Section 2-206, the general duties of the advisory board include recommendations to city management on types of services a museum can provide to the community, as well as policies conducive to the efficient and effective operation of the museum. I would hope that the Museum Advisory Board could be included in work sessions and discussions regarding the future of the museum and the collection of the museum, and that in some capacity, we can continue to fulfill the mission of the museum, which is to collect and share the natural history and diverse cultural heritage of the river community of Independence, and share its vision to be a resource for our community, scholars, historians, educators, and visitors alike. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky, and thank you for your volunteer service over the years. I do appreciate it. Council members, we're going to go into presentations, and I want to invite to the podium a colleague and all-around wonderful, wonderful gentleman, the mayor of Hillsborough, Steve Calloway. Thank you for coming to Independence tonight, Steve.
Thank you, and your Main Street looks magnificent, I love it. I'm Steve Calloway, and for the next 28 days, will be the mayor of Hillsborough. And I was trying to decide what words to use to describe Mayor McCarthy. And you should not be surprised that perfect is not one of those words. And the reason for that is that nobody is perfect. John McCardle is anything but a nobody. He is an institution. Now, during my 8 years in Hillsborough as mayor, my 2 terms have overlapped with at least 24 other mayors in the 10 other cities of Washington County. So when I think of John's 28 years as mayor and the fact that we have 241 cities across our state, I can't begin to guess how many mayors John has served with alongside and has helped and supported. Another way to think about it is that the children he read to during his first year as mayor are now the teachers in the classrooms whose kids that he speaks with or reads to. Now, cheerleader is another word, because there's no bigger cheerleader for the city of Independence than Mayor McCartney. He never passes up the opportunity to brag and boast about his city, nor does he ever pass up the opportunity to bring an OMA, LOC, ELGL, or any other kind of meeting to the city so that he can show off how wonderful the city is. And when we come, we learn that the boasting and the bragging is not overstated, because truly Independence is a wonderful city. The word statesman comes to mind when I think of John, because he works to find common ground and find solutions instead of finding fault. John focuses on fixing problems and not fixing blame. And you always make sure to share or give away the credit. Now, as a new mayor, I didn't really have much to offer or bring to the table, but that's when I learned that John was a mentor. He listened, always offered insight, and answered questions. John is a problem solver, and a couple of examples of this, the construction of the Park Amphitheater, and how the Independence Hotel in the surrounding area was developed. And John's a problem solver. John is a storyteller, which is how I learned about park development and the hotel Independence. John is a leader and has led the Oregon Mayor's Association, the League of Oregon Cities, and numerous boards, commissions, and foundations. And John has a formal authority that comes with those roles and positions. But he also is a leader because of his presence in a room, his booming voice, and his charisma. But most importantly, John leads with a moral authority that he has earned with his honesty, integrity, and decency. John is a patriot, and as an Olympian, and as a citizen of the United States, your experience, you have learned the true blessings of liberty. John is an award winner. Sometimes when an award is given, it's described as a prestigious award, because the name of the award may not have great recognition. But any award that John receives, and there have been many, automatically grows in prestige because he is a recipient. And anybody who receives that award after John knows that the award is prestigious because John has received it. One of the last words that I would use to describe John is friend. So many of us, and in so many ways, whether it is cleaning up after the horses, in the 4th of July parade with Mayor Kuntz, whether it is words of encouragement, a phone call, a letter, or an email, or sharing good food and conversation at the hotel. Now, the list could go on and on and on, and you're probably worried that it's going to, but all those words are true and appropriate. They don't quite encapsulate all that John McArdle is, like this quote from Governor Tom McCall. Heroes are not giant statues framed against a red sky. There are people who say, this is my community, and it's my responsibility to make it better. John, you are a hero because you have made your community and the community of Oregon a better place. And I thank you for that. I also want to acknowledge that your wife has been next to you and alongside you every step of the way. And she is every bit as much a hero, because you couldn't do what you do. None of us as elected officials could do what we do without our spouses. Now, I'm aware that my remarks were listed under presentations, so that made me think I have to give you something. So consider this a verbal invitation to you and your wife to join me and my wife at a Hops game on a Tuesday night this upcoming summer. I'm choosing Tuesday because neither one of us will have council. And I'll arrange for you to throw out a first pitch. I look forward to seeing if you throw it as well as Mayor Truax, Mayor Beatty, Mayor Jones, Mayor Lenahan, and others. And don't worry if the value is over $50, because we will no longer be bound by state ethics. So thank you very, very much for all of your years of service.
Now, Steve has a famous quote that I've written down, and it seems apropos. You can pretend to care, but you can't pretend to show up. Thank you so much for showing up, not just today, but on all the times we've met and walked along the river and talked and meetings all over. Good man. Thank you.
Well.
You're welcome to stay if you want to, but you don't have to. Because now, oh, I have to give my report, so it's gonna jump in. So let me do my report here, folks. It's been busy since I last spoke to you so here are the things that I've had a chance to be involved in. As many of you know, the Wall That Heals, which is coming in the middle of September. We've had a number of informational Zoom meetings and trainings to prepare for this major event in September. And I'm gonna be continuing to be part of this group going forward in the months ahead. I really look forward to that. Our COG Legislative Committee, we met recently and had the regional director of ODOT give us an update on Highway 22 and 51. There are gonna be some changes there. There are gonna be some upgrading of signage, directional changes in the coming months. Step by step. It's not as much as we want, but it's better than what it was. We also got a report, which I think we'd be all interested in, about the seismic issues and funding limitations for the bridges in Salem. That what the legislature allocated 60 million and they found another 40 million to do it, but they need another 100 million to do the seismic upgrade, and that doesn't do the other ramps that go for it. So we also had some discussion. The legislative committee, ODOT, is kicking around a number of funding thoughts that are going to be considered by the upcoming legislature. There are a number of different ways and lots of things. I'm very proud to have been one of the volunteers for the Ella Curran Thanksgiving grocery pickup. That was a couple days before Thanksgiving. There were 481 families picking up groceries, which that comes to 2,087 people received bags of groceries, turkeys, and chickens. All volunteers, and the food was purchased with donations, and there were 75 volunteers that helped the food bank during November. Got to kick off the holiday season in downtown with Glow. We had some carolers and 180 people attended. Kids and families had a great time. I really appreciated Courtney's efforts on those. The Polk County Realtors Association invited the mayors from the 3 cities and our planning staff for updates on development challenges and impacts of recent legislation. And I just want to say publicly, it was a real pleasure to do that with Fred Evander. Business Oregon held a statewide meeting for 30-some regional staff and coordinators here, and Sean and I presented a positive impact that Business Oregon has had on our community and gave them a tour of the downtown local businesses. And they continue to say that Independence continues to be an example for cities across the state. The next day, the Oregon Arts Commission held their statewide meeting here. They had a community reception attended by a number of our local folks that are involved with the arts, and I had the pleasure of welcoming the attendees as well as visiting with legislators about the infrastructure needs of rural communities, including Independence. And just to let you know that legislators are hearing that same message across the state from mayors. I had a chance to speak at the WOU tree lighting, which is a wonderful, uplifting event. And the essay The Young Lady Read was just heartwarming. And I think it's going to run if they're smart, the IO will run it in the paper. As a senior fellow for the Hatfield School of Government at PSU, I was faculty this last weekend for elected officials boot camp. And I've had the pleasure of doing this for the last dozen years. And yesterday attended the Oregon Business Summit and was invited to speak to a full room at a breakout session. This wasn't originally planned, but they invited me to do that on the topic building capacity for rural economic development on the human staffing needs statewide, and also got the message across that if the state wants additional housing, there's gonna have to be investment by the legislature in water, sewer, transportation. I see the mayor shaking his head, yes. And I'm pleased to say that message was widely received, and a number of legislators in the room looked like they got the message. And so that's what I've been doing recently. And with that, I'll be quiet and turn it over to Kenna West, our city manager, for her report.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, much of this you know from my reports. However, as always, I will hit the highlights for those folks who are at home and the folks that joined us tonight. Thank you for coming. IndyWorks is not operational at the moment. Our communications director did push out a message to our community, letting them know its unavailability. We've been unable to come to an agreement with the current vendor, so we're exploring other opportunities, one of which is to build it in-house. We do have a website designer, who we may have that capability. Another is to look at vendors. We really hope to relaunch in January, but that's going to be a very fluid date depending on whether we go in-house or with a vendor. We, in the meantime, are looking for ways for our community to reach out to us. It may be a job form, but we do hope to have something up by January 2025, even if it's not the full IndyWorks. The public fingerprinting service that's offered by our police department is paused because that machine is working and requires programming from the vendor. We will update when that is back up and running. We only have a few days left to wander into the library, grab one of the tags left on the giving tree for our seniors. All the gifts have to be back by Friday, unwrapped, and then they will go to the Independence Health and Rehabilitation Center. I want to talk about grants. 2 years ago, well, 2.5 years ago, I came to the city. 2 years ago, we said we really are going to focus on grants because we, like every other city, are having significant issues because of Measure 5 and 50, because of all the stresses that are put on us financially. We really focused on grants and grant writing, and it started to pay off. So just recently, we received a $750,000 grant from Energy Trust to install energy efficient aerators on the sewer lagoons. They will offset the cost of this essential upgrade. As you may recall, for years, we were having issues with DEQ because of those lagoons. We really took those on a few years ago, and in particular in the last 2 years, with a $4 million grant from EDA. $1 million grant from the state, now there's $750,000 grant from Energy Trust. We just also received another EDA grant, this on the water side, $440,000 to start the design of the water treatment plant. As you all know, and our community, I think, knows, because I've worked on this over and over and over, this is critical. This water infrastructure is critical to meeting the future water demand and utilizing the water rights that this council and prior councils were smart enough to purchase. And we need to get those in place and working by 2026. So we're working really, really hard to get that going. This $440,000 grant is a huge step in the right direction. I also want to update you. We originally thought we had 200,000 in ARPA funds left. We have 400,000, all in the larger design. That will get us up and running even faster. We also, unless Councilor Schwartz, we're going to talk about the grant from Confederate Tribes, or shall I? We received a grant from the Confederate Tribes of Grand Ronde for the laptops for our youth coding league. That's a $7,500 grant. That is a program run through our library that Councilor Mayor Schwartzer and our library director, Patrick Bodley, brought the initiative to make this opportunity a reality. The coding league provides skills that our kids wouldn't get anywhere else. It provides skills that our kids can use into the future. This is an incredible, incredible program. We're thankful for that grant to get them new laptops. And just a massive thank you to Mayor Schwartzer and Director Bodley for making an impact with our kids in our community. Finally, brand new is the Community Development Block Grant. This is a pass-through grant for childcare. You may recall we did a public hearing a few months ago where we stood right up here and said, hey, we got a pass-through grant for a community development block, and it will address critical shortage of childcare in our area. This is an issue. It's a known issue. It's been a known issue for years. The mayor has been working incredibly hard to bring childcare here. This is a great step. It's $136,000. It will help to train childcare providers and create childcare for our people. Those are the most recent grants. We have millions of dollars of grants that we brought in 2 years. I'm very proud of my team. A couple of other things that I want to talk about. I want to remind everybody, we'll be closed on December 25th. City Hall will be closed, but as always, our police officers will still be on patrol, keeping our community safe. We'll also be closed on January 1st for the New Year's holiday. Same, City Hall closed, our police are working, keeping us all safe. Tuesday, January 14th is our transition meeting where our current council will open the meeting and then the new council will be sworn in. And we'll go from there. In the meantime, on December 19th, we'll have a community retirement celebration for Mayor McCardle. It will be here in our event center from 5 to 6:30. It's a drop-in event. There will be no programming. It's just a time to say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all you do for this team.
Thank you, appreciate that. We're gonna keep moving forward here. We have a public hearing on a CDBG grant closeout, and I have Diana Savitra. Diana, are you here?
She is here, she is Zoom.
Ah, okay,
Well, good evening, everyone, and I also want to join the chorus and thank you, Mayor McCardle, especially for being the certifying officer for this complicated CDBG housing rehabilitation grant. As you know, the funding that comes in from the state, these CDBG funds are only awarded to jurisdictions. So each jurisdiction is a responsible entity and they subgrant it to us, Polk CDC, to deliver the program. And so someone, and in this case, Mayor McCardle, has to review documents and sign documents. And I just want to say thank you. And I also would like to say thank you to Karen Johnson for being so available to help when needed. And so now to the exciting part, I have to read the public notice into the record. The City of Independence is completing a housing rehabilitation project funded with a Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, from the Oregon Business Development Department. The location of the project is in Independence and all of Polk County outside of West Salem. It is estimated that the housing rehabilitation project has benefited at least 22 persons, of whom 100% are low or moderate income. A public hearing will be held by the Independent City Council at 6:30 p.m. on December 10th, 2024 at the City Hall, 555 South Main Street, Independence, Oregon. The purpose of this hearing is for the Independent City Council to obtain citizen views about the project and to take comments about the local government's performance. Written comments are also welcome and must be received by 4 p.m. on December 9th, 2024 at City Hall, 555 South Main Street, Independence, Oregon. The meeting agenda is posted by 12:05:24 at the link, this Zoom link. Both oral and written comments will be reviewed by the City Council on December 10th, 2024 at the public hearing. The location of the hearing is accessible to disabled persons. Please contact Karen Johnson at 503-838-1212 if you need any special accommodations in order to attend or participate in the hearing. More information about the Oregon Community Development Block Grant Program and the project is available for public review during regular business hours at Independence City Hall located at 555 South Main Street, Independence, Oregon. Advance notice is requested by calling the city at 503-838-1212. Okay, now the report. So may I ask, did you all receive a written copy of the report that I created? Karen?
the council has a written copy of the report at our desk, and we were reading it prior to the meeting.
Okay, great. So I will read that. I will just explain that I described to you the background of how we formed this Polk Regional Collaborative in 2006 because the department, that is Business Oregon Infrastructure Finance Authority, changed the rules to require that you had to collaborate with contiguous jurisdictions and work with a nonprofit in order to get these housing rehabilitation funds. And so that's what we did. And we've had approximately 13 awards since then, and we've helped over the years, going back to pre-2006, close to 900 single-family owner-occupied home owners with housing rehabilitation. And so I will jump to the project timeline, which is each award has a 2-year time frame. And because there is a lot of upfront due diligence when you get an award, and then at the end, there's also due diligence, we have been applying every year for a housing rehabilitation grant with one of the jurisdictions that is in the Polk Regional Collaborative as the lead applicant in order to keep the program continuously available to homeowners in non-entitlement Polk County. And so because this contract was executed in February 21 of 23, it is certainly within that 2-year time frame because it doesn't close until February 21 of 25. And we already have another jurisdiction lined up, namely Falls City. But the truth of it is that whenever a jurisdiction gets an award, the wait list includes people from all throughout Polk County. And we currently have about 30 people on the wait list. And anyone on the wait list, whether they live in Falls City or Independence, that is eligible is assisted with whatever award that is provided to a jurisdiction. Okay, so now the good part. So we have helped 14 homes with this housing rehabilitation grant. And of these, 11 of the homes were for seniors 60 and older. And what's interesting to me, I remember you, Mayor McCardle, saying this, that you read somewhere that the greenest home is the one that's already built. And in this day and age, because energy is so important, energy efficiency and climate is important, we are very happy to be doing the work that we're doing. And I have with me tonight Kimberly Lyle, and she is with Polk CDC Operations Manager. And I'd like to ask her to join and explain the partnerships we now have with Energy Trust of Oregon and Seeds of Soul, and a new person that we hired to do energy assessments and provide energy efficient methods and tools and appliances to the homeowners that we work with in the housing rehabilitation program. So Karen, can you let Kimberly in?
Just invited her.
She's doing it.
And just one last thing, can you hear me still?
Yes.
I want to be sure and open this to any questions people might have after you, Kimberly shares with you the Energy Trust work that we're doing.
Good evening and welcome to council, Kimberly.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about Energy Trust of Oregon and our partnership. In 2022, Polk CDC began a partnership with Energy Trust of Oregon Community Partner Funding Program. And through ETO CFP, we are able to utilize incentives to help stretch our allotted CDBG funds to help more families and to lower energy costs for the families we serve. The program works as like this. Because we go out for our rehab site visits and evaluate homes, in doing so, we're also working with Energy Trust of Oregon to do home energy assessments. And that's where we can identify key work items, not just for rehab, but also for ways to help the homeowners get energy efficient work items completed and get incentives for those items. So say they have, for example, baseboard heating. We can help them get ductless heat pumps to lower their energy bills and get incentives in order to do that. So that's eligible items. And then Diana had mentioned
You froze.
that I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I looked like you froze. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway,
going.
we're able to expand and hire a second rehab specialist who's also been trained in Energy Trust of Oregon community partner incentives. And we collaborate with other organizations that also are involved with the community partner program, such as Seeds for the Soul, as Diana had mentioned. And I just wanted to say, we are on track this year to receive, we don't receive them, but the contractors receive the incentives directly, and then they bill us for the balance of the work. And we're on track to receive $40,000 of incentives. And of that $40,000, $13,900 aided 3 additional families with the independent CDBG program. So we're making those dollars work hard for the community. So that's all I have for you, unless you have any questions.
Everybody okay? To close out. Is this where I ask for the public has anything?
Yes.
Does anybody else, anything they want to say related to this? I don't have anybody jumping up. So have we performed the required federal function?
I just want to say one thing. So in times past, we have been able to assist more homes, and the number of homes we're able to assist now is the result of supply chain issues, increased costs, and also every 2 years it occurs to me that CDBG comes up with new environmental requirements, which is fine. It's all good. But I just want to tell you that in times past, we've been able to assist more homes. So we're very eager to have these partnerships with people like Energy Trust so we can stretch the dollars. And that's all I want to say. And again, thank you, Independence, for being the lead applicant in this housing rehab program.
Great, thank you very much. Without objection, I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate all that you do to help people.
Good night.
Good night. Sergeant Gilbert, we have an OLCC application.
Good evening, Mayor and City Councilors. You guys probably get tired of hearing me go over the background, but there are people at home that I understand probably don't understand. This is a liquor license, and in 2020, our city adopted resolution 20-1541, which establishes criteria to review liquor license applications. The police department was assigned the task of doing the initial review of each liquor license and then completing the staff report for you guys to make a decision. This was kind of a difficult one. It was kind of convoluted in the way it came in, so I tried typing it up in a way that made sense, and if you have questions, please just ask them. Essentially, there's no change. This is the Independence Hotel. Osprey Neck, another name for territory. Togolo Properties is the one who oversees the entire project. Essentially, what happened is the Togolo Properties found a new management company, and that management company's insurance company required that their name be on the liquor license. So there's no change other than adding the name to the liquor license, which includes the new management company. So with that, you look on the back, and my recommendation was option number 1, which is to recommend approval of the liquor license. Are there any questions?
Questions?
Yes, generally, this is appended by, and fees, if fees are paid, the fees are already up to date.
With the city, and my understanding is that the fees get paid to OLCC once this is approved, but yes, to the city, they are paid, correct.
Thank you.
Great, this is an action item.
I move to recommend approval of the above liquor license request.
Second.
Have a motion second discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you much.
Ms. Johnson. Please, at your last city council meeting.
I'm short. It's a little closer. Mr. Mayor and city councilors, thank you so much for letting me address you tonight. As the mayor stated, this is my last meeting, and It's kind of bittersweet. I'm looking forward to everything that retirement has to offer. And I'm going to miss working with all of you. It's been great.
Oh, excuse me.
No,
So to make it brief on the general election official results, as you all know, the levy did fail. Per Oregon statute, I am supposed to canvass the votes, which I did, and found that they were not within the range of meeting a recount. And so I am asking the council to adopt a resolution to accept those results. And then in the memorandum, I also included just information. It's no action is required on the candidate results. And so with that, I leave you all unless you have any questions.
Questions? This is an action item, please.
I'd like to, move to approve resolution number 241620.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Counselor Schwartzler. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, councilors.
City Manager West, I think you have the next one, please.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Karen. Since I have my group. Karen Burns too. It's gonna be different and it's gonna be harder, and Myra and I are gonna miss you every single meeting.
But she's gonna keep living in Independence, so we're rocking.
That we are, Mayor, that we are. Tonight, I'm gonna talk about setting the dates and duration of Independence Day 2025. First, I would like to draw your attention to an error in the document. If you will go down to the discussion portion, second paragraph, second sentence. It says to cover its direct expenses excluding staff costs. A very important change, it should be including. Sorry about that, council. So with that clarification, I want to talk about Independence Days. We, after the last Independence Days, we sought feedback from vendors, businesses, and community members. What we found is that the third day was not as profitable and that there were not as many people there. We took that information and then we assessed what it looks like for the city to put this on for 3 days. As you may recall, this used to be all volunteer. And then some key volunteer folks retired. And then about 3 years ago, it came into the city and city staff have been the main people running this. This is a high personnel cost because every day that this is going on, I have to have my entire finance team there, which means we shut down our finance department. We actually close the doors. We don't serve anyone, except what's going on over at Independence Days. I have a very small finance team and they are giving up their 4th of July, which is not a part of the contract when they came in, to make sure that this event goes on. So you add into that our public works have for nearly a decade worked every single 4th of July. Every 4th of July. And if we reduce down to 2 days, according to my events team, we'll still have an amazing Independence Days. We'll reduce personnel costs, will allow our team to spend some of the time with their family. The city council has the authority to schedule the time, the days, and how long. So I'm asking you to take a look at this to approve resolution 241621 and allow us to go forward with the 4th of July 2025.
Appreciate your thoughtful memo on all this. Any questions that we please do.
Yes. City Manager, I'm sorry.
Is there consideration of doing both a main fireworks day and a hometown fireworks or not?
No, that will continue as a matter of fact. That was indicated as important to the community. So we will continue to do that along with the where everybody comes, the town show.
Yes.
The town show will go on as well.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Thor.
Yes, City Manager Watts, I don't wanna I don't wanna leave out the police officers' commitment to this event also. They always work on 4th of July anyway, but they do serve quite a bit for Independence Days. I just wanna make the point that the reason why the finance staff is so heavily involved in this is beforehand, there was no financial accountability around this event at all. So I think it's been a great fix and a great, sense of accountability to the community to have them there, and to have them there for 3 days, I think is way too much. So I'm certainly in support of reducing it.
Thank you, Councilor, and thank you for reminding me. Our police are involved all of the time, and my first year, and since I have the microphone, Mayor, if I may, I think Bob was there every single day, at least 16 to 20 hours. So it's an incredible burden on our police, and they do an incredible job for this community.
Councilor Road.
I just would like to remind everybody that day 3 of this year was like 152,000 degrees outside. So that could possibly be the reason why the attendance was lower on that day. I think all the work that goes into putting the 4th of July together kind of, for me, is like, it should be as grandiose as we can make it. So if we can keep it 3 days, we're already putting all the time and effort into it. Community just wants it. And usually we're jam-packed into the park every single day for the 4th of July. And we get businesses receiving customers, and people are coming in, and people from all over the state really come to Independence to see our fireworks show and what we put together. So I think to make a decision to reduce this to 2 days based on one single year's data is not a good idea. I think we should look at it on a grander scale and see what is that really saving by reducing it by a day.
Councilor Joe.
Oh, hi. I was wondering, this is for 2025, is it something you're considering in the future to do every year, just have the 2 days? Or is it just kind of case by case, depending on what day of the week 4th of July falls on?
So the preference would be leave it at 2 days. That said, we would come to you every year. In fact, we were supposed to be coming to you every year before, and it somehow fell through the cracks. So it'll be a decision that's made by the council on a yearly basis. Unless you decide at some point in time that you don't no longer want to make that decision, and you authorize someone else and stuff to make it.
Councilor Moore.
I just wanted to add that I have had long experience of working the 4th of July as a vendor. And there are long stretches of no activity and no people downtown. Yes, it was hot last year, but I've also been down there during thunderstorms and during hailstorms and nearly record flooding of all of the product getting wet and washing out the back door. I think this is the fiscally responsible thing to do, given that we are trying to be very careful with our budget. That doesn't preclude us from going back to more days next year. I also think that a lot of attendance depends on whether there are fireworks shows in other cities around us, because they have been on and off again, and we see a huge influx of people when there is a show that's canceled somewhere else. And I think that by picking the 2 days and having the 2 fireworks on each day, that we really made it a grandiose thing, even though it's not the extra days. We've made it we've compacted it down into great specialness in a shorter time with less cost.
Okay. Somebody might make a motion, please.
Yes, I move to adopt resolution 24-1621, establishing Independence Days 2025 for 2 days, July 3rd and 4th.
Second.
I have a motion second from Councilor Core. Is there further discussion? Okay, did you want to do a roll call?
Okay.
There you go.
I can help out. Councilor Schwartzler, Mayor-elect Schwartzler.
Yes.
Councilor Roden.
Yes.
We're voting by roll call.
No.
Councilor Morton.
Yes.
Councilor Martin Willis.
Aye.
Councilor Joe.
Yes.
Councilor Ford.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Announcements,
I have an announcement.
please do.
A couple things. One, Mayor, I just want to thank you again for all the work you've done and for the wall freedom that we're bringing to Independence. Hopefully, I was at a veterans dinner and I was with a Vietnam vet and he came to tears, saying he could never go see the wall in DC because it would be too emotional for him. And he asked me if I would take him to the wall if it came here. And so it touched my heart and it made me feel glad that I could do that. And I thank you for bringing this to the city and Natasha Adams and everybody else who's working. The other thing is I had a package stolen from my house. And I know this is just my business, but I had my Ring cameras on. It was the middle of the day. They came up and took my package and left and took my package with them. And so I posted it on social media, because that's what you do these days. And it came back that at least a dozen other people in Independence have had the same thing happen to them in the middle of the day. And so I don't know what we can do about this, because I thought, well, maybe I'm just lucky. But it appears that this is happening all over Independence, in the middle of the day. Face everything on the Ring camera. I mean, not enough to get a license plate, but if this is happening everywhere, I think it's good that we communicate to our wonderful police department so that maybe we can do something about this.
I do know it's a national phenomenon that's going on. It's everywhere. I saw, please.
Just closing comments, since this is the last council meeting that you will be presiding at from the beginning to the ending. I just want to say that you have been a wonderful example of community pride. And that is the reason I chose to serve on the council in the first place, was because I felt that community pride. And it got reflected back in everything that I have ever discussed with Mayor McCardle. And I appreciate his leadership. And I know that it seems like we're getting a big open space here with somebody who's been stellar leaving, but we have somebody stellar coming. And I plan to support her with the same amount of community pride.
Well, that's kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. Couple of comments. First of all, I want to remind that this council, I do not anticipate that this council will gather again to conduct business this year, unless something very bizarre happens. This council will not gather to make decisions for anything. I will ask you to all attend the January 14th meeting so that we can get together, approve the minutes, and then see the new folks sworn in and begin their work. So please do attend on the 14th. Second of all, I have a couple of personal comments I'd like to kind of share. Mayor Callaway was he shared a lot of wonderful thoughts, and that was very, very kind. And I just want to publicly say that, you know, you remind me that I don't also always say enough about the other half of our family, Patty, who puts up with grumpy mayors who sometimes are not the easiest people to be with after a difficult meeting, and can't say anything about executive sessions and put up with all sorts of things. So I want to thank from the dais, it goes in the record forever and ever that I actually see, no one can say I didn't say something. Thank you, Patty. I do appreciate that. And finally, I've been reflecting as I walk my dog through town, what I would share with this council. And I looked back, and I'm not sure, somewhere between 650 and 680 meetings I've had the pleasure of chairing this formal, plus all the other meetings that go with it. And I want to make a couple of suggestions for this council and people in the audience. You know, we've had a lot of success because we've worked together, because we've always looked at what is best for our community. Sometimes the challenges seem immense, but we found ways to do it. We've had businesses and many people come because we've worked together and we set a tone. And when I was teaching the new mayors and city councilors this weekend, I mentioned to them that getting along being decent human beings with each other is not just about being nice. It's about good economic development, because who wants to come do business where they're grumpy with each other all the time? And so I ask that as we go forward, we, the community, that this council continues to remember to offer each other grace, to offer understanding, and to look what is best for our community. I also offer that in the coming years, we're going to be facing issues not just within our own community, but forces from outside our community, the economy, state, and nationally. And I think it's very important for this group to set a tone, to act in ways that bring credit both to yourself, to this council, to our community, and set an example for others. I went to a meeting years ago, and it was Senator Wyden hosting a town hall in a high school. And it was when there was a grumpy time going on. And the school principal got up to welcome everybody. And after she did the welcome, she said, "We're gonna have a number of students here tonight." And it was during the day. And she asked that everybody in the room act in ways that would be good examples for those students, because they will do what they see and what they hear. So I ask that this council do that and make sure that those that they work with do the same things, because there are many, some of our residents are gonna feel really nervous about the future, really put upon. Some people want to throw some of our residents out. Some of us who are naturalized, some of the words that are saying are not necessarily positive. So I ask you to set a tone in what you say and what you do that serves as an example to those we see regularly and to the atmosphere we have. So upon that, and I know that this group can do it, and the people coming on will, because as I always have said, this is independence where everything is possible, and our best days are still to come. And without objection, we are adjourned.